You landed safely, Duh. First, head inland. The waypoint is marked on your solid-on radar. Contact us on Codec if you have questions.
Hello guys, this is Astro Triforce for www.WatchMePlayGames.com. This is Watch Me Play Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance Part 2. So you can go to VR missions from your Codec by pressing select. You have Boris, Kevin, Courtney, Doctor. I wonder what customize is. Let's talk to some of these guys.
Control, it's Raiden. I'm on the ground.
Copy, Raiden. Glad to hear it. Entering on foot was the right move. That craft isn't equipped with stealth camo. Or octo-camo, obviously, since that would be useless in midair.
And we wouldn't want to get your pricey new jet damaged, now would we?
Duh. The MQ-133C was not cheap, tovarich. Now, keep alert. According to intel, you could find significant cyborg deployment here. If you were to be cornered by an entire squad, it might get difficult, even for you.
Understood. Some fighting will be necessary, though. I've got electrolytes to replenish.
This is not an infiltration mission. There is no need to hide or avoid combat outright, huh? Just do not get reckless. Stay safe and stay focused on your mission. There is always a chance the MQ was spotted before your drop-off. I would not be surprised if hostile cyborgs were already en route to your position.
A little welcoming party wouldn't be so bad. I could use a warm-up.
Enough with the attitude, Raiden. It's time to be serious. This is no game. I need you to focus. Many people are counting on you, and I don't just mean here at Maverick.
You don't need to remind me of that.
Good. The last thing we need is another clever cowboy shipped back to us in pieces. On Codec is fine. Just be sure you are serious on the battlefield. Your enemies will be.
Yes, sir.
We are clear on the rules of engagement, yes?
Clear enough. I can use deadly force against any hostile elements. Hostile cyborgs, I can strike first.
Basically, yes. The actual rules of engagement is more specific. A long list of no's. But you have the idea.
You want to recap the highlights for me?
No weapons prohibited by international treaty. No use of force against non-combatants. Especially officials or anyone with political power who may be needed for negotiations. No use of force against any unarmed hostile seeking to surrender. And no use of force against any non-cyborg combatants without prior verbal warning.
And that includes Dolzaev?
Duh, but this should not be a problem. Any non-cyborg is little threat to you, Dolzaev included. Besides, we have no signs of any non-cyborg hostiles anywhere in the area. Not even one. We think Dolzaev is working alone with Desperado here. In any case, that is the ROE. Otherwise, deadly force is authorized only in clear case of self-defense.
So basically, civilians off limits, human hostiles verbal warning, hostile cyborgs, anything goes.
Yes, this is a conventional warfare scenario, so the rules are based on the Hague Convention.
Yeah, sounds pretty standard. Still good to list out all the no-nos before things get too hairy. ROEs that only specify who you can engage require too much judgment. They make it harder to remain focused on battle.
Duh. This is why most militaries' ROEs list negatives, not positives. The few that take the other approach, I pity their soldiers the questions they face. Oh, and for our purposes, UGs are considered the same as hostile cyborgs.
Copy that.
We have no rules about property damage, but keep it minimal, yes? It just makes us look bad. Anything standing in your way, trees, streetlights, this is fine. But there's no reason to damage civilian homes, or to go snooping around in them.
Goes without saying.
You're familiar with your new body now, yes? Then let's begin the warm-up. Slice at something. A palm tree, perhaps. You're familiar with your new body now, yes? Then let's begin the warm-up. Slice at something. A palm tree, perhaps.
Alright, so quite a bit of exposition here that you can access. Let's go ahead and talk to some of the other people here.
Looks like a war zone out here.
The palace cleared out quick when Dolzayev's men showed up. The streets got pretty hot after that. We're definitely going to see a few civilian casualties here. Luckily, it looks like most of them got out of the city before things got bad. They've basically got control of the entire town and are using the refinery as their HQ.
And that's why we're hitting the plant.
Keep in mind, those cyborgs are contractors. For most of these guys, this is just a job. In theory, once you eliminate their commanding officer, they should scatter pretty quickly.
Yes. Let's go over everything we have on Desperado.
Roger that. Let's see here. Desperado Enforcement, LLC. Registered in the U.S., Delaware.
Makes sense. The U.S. doesn't regulate PMCs too closely.
Looks like almost all of their actual business is handled outside the states, though. Says here their financials are handled by a separate company based in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The preferred tax haven of megacorps everywhere.
Probably why they incorporated in Delaware in the first place. Loose tax laws. Funneling it all through the Caribbean must help with the money laundering, though. There's still a lot we don't know about them, but they've definitely been starting a lot of fires lately. They're a PMC in name only. What a name it is. Guess War Profiteers Incorporated was taken. But that's their business. In a nutshell, target war-torn nations on the road to peace. Reignite conflicts and walk off with all the cash that was earmarked for reconstruction. They also have ties to the drug trade, human trafficking.
Sounds like a real class act.
We've confirmed 3 key captains in Desperado. Their code names are all wind-themed. The captain presiding over this coup is called Mistral.
Cyborg?
Yep. All 3 have got custom-made bodies. Collectively, they're known as the Winds of Destruction.
The what? They all have action figures, too?
You're one to talk, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Who told you?
Courtney. Now that sounds like an action figure.
I didn't choose it, trust me.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I doubt the Winds of Destruction picked their names either. Different cultures use language differently, even ones with a decent command of English. As you can attest, Mr. LB.
That was a pretty cool exchange.
Looks like a war zone out here.
The palace cleared out quick when Dolzayev's men showed up. The streets got pretty hot after that. We're definitely going to see a few civilian casualties. Luckily, it looks like most of them got out of the city before things got bad. They've basically...
And that's...
Keep in mind, in theory...
Press the Y button to skip once you've already heard everything that they say. Now let's talk to Courtney.
How we doing, Courtney?
You're looking good on our end. GPS and audio-visual feed coming in fine. Energy consumption? Check. Damage levels? Check. Blood pressure, brain waves, blood sugar? Check, check, check. All this monitoring equipment, I got a better view than if I was standing right next to you. Anyway, I'll be saving all your data automatically anytime something important happens in the field. But contact me anytime you want a manual save.
Copy that. Good to hear that hasn't changed with this new body.
Yep, the basic system's exactly the same. So, did you want to save? Roger that. Let me know if you change your mind.
Copy. And glad to hear you're okay after Africa. That ambush was no joke.
Tell me about it. 3 armored vehicles should have been plenty for that job. And it would have been against any typical guerrilla force.
I keep asking myself, where would an anti-Imani faction get the cash to hire cyborgs?
It just doesn't add up. Maybe there's some intel I missed. A lead I should have followed up on. Maybe if I reacted faster or coordinated better. I don't know.
You can't think that way, Courtney. Not in this business. You did everything you could. Put it behind you and move on.
You're right. Thanks.
Titan, shall we review the capabilities of your new body?
Copy that. Go ahead, Doc.
As we discussed, you've been outfitted with 2 revolutionary new abilities.
Fuel electrolyte absorption and self-repair from seized nanopaste.
Precisely. First, electrolyte absorption. This is simplicity itself. As your HF blade is linked directly to your fuel cells, simply cut into any source of electrolytes. say, a hostile cyborg made up of CNT muscle fiber. And your fuel cells will recharge on their own. Rather elegant, wouldn't you say?
I would indeed. It's been great so far.
But, the repair process is a bit more involved. A bit more messy, you might say. Most military cyborg models store a cache of biotic self-repair nanopaste in their lower abdomen.
So I need to slice them open and use Zandatsu to extract it. Cut and take, in other words.
Correct. Once extracted, you need only to crush this unit in your hand to absorb the repairing agent inside. Keep in mind, it is extremely delicate. If the unit should hit the ground, some paste will surely leak out. It will still repair your body, but less so than if you can retrieve it directly before your foe falls over.
Basically, harvest their organs before their body can even hit the ground.
Rather gruesome, I realize. But then you Americans enjoy a bit of gore, don't you?
I may be a citizen, but I've never really thought of myself as American.
Oh? Well, yes, I suppose I could understand that given your history. But what then? Surely you don't identify as Liberian.
I don't identify with anyone. No nation, no ethnic group. I'm my own man. Anyway, I seem to recall those gory torture porn movies were pretty popular in Germany, too.
Indeed, indeed. These splatter films are big in Germany, Russia, Japan, everywhere. Well, everywhere except regions afflicted by actual warfare. It all has to do with taming our fears, you know?
Huh?
The desire to feel fear, to taste death, but from a safe distance. These films allow the viewer to delude themselves into thinking they have overcome their fears. This...
Okay, Doc, I got the gist. Let's save the full psych lecture for some other time, though, huh?
That was interesting.
So these self-repair units and the other cyborgs, they mean they can heal themselves at any time?
Indeed. It is typically a slow process, not much faster than a regular human body heals a wound.
And you didn't think it was a good idea to give me one of these things?
Certainly not. We removed all extraneous options in your case to maximize power and speed, you know.
Healing wounds is extraneous?
Your ability to absorb the nanopaste agent is far more efficient, Raiden. With it, your wounds heal almost instantly.
I know, but...
And a standard repair unit, once depleted, is nothing but an empty shell inside you. Dead weight.
I get that, Doc, but it also means I need to constantly be grabbing them out of enemies.
No, it doesn't. Don't be silly. Simply avoid taking damage and you will be fine.
Yeah, simple.
How is your eye, Raiden?
Great. My sight's perfectly balanced between both eyes. I think my vision's improved, actually.
Quite right. Quite right. Your eye patch houses an artificial compound eye unit. The unit contains over 200 million solid-state image sensors, each with its own individual lens.
200 megapixels, huh? Doesn't sound like all that much.
More than sufficient for the application. A human's optic nerve has only about 1 million fibers, you know. Were we to add more sensors, your perceived vision would not improve. There's only so much modern image compression technology can do.
Huh. So I shouldn't expect any more dramatic improvements to my eyesight?
No, your brain would no longer be able to process any more visual information in real time. Still, compared to previous ACEs, yours has 1.4 times the resolution and a superior compression algorithm.
It may only result in a slight perceived change, but it could wind up making the difference during a mission.
Regrettably, I have not had enough time to develop a new eyeball unit just yet. Thus, I have cut out the ability to deploy the ACE unit separately and simply installed it on a fixed eye patch.
Works for me. If I was using an eye unit, I wouldn't see any better than a regular human.
But remember, the human eye is so much more than a simple light receptor. They play a vital role in person-to-person communication. Sooner or later, you'd miss it.
Stuff like that's important for some tasks, sure. For this op, not so much. And with less moving parts, the lower the chance of something going wrong. Besides, I like it.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear this.
I can worry about how I look after I complete the mission.
I've always loved, at least in the original Metal Gear Solid, all the extra just information and history and views views on different parts of culture that they put in the games. I think it's all really interesting.
Hey, vigilant, right?
Alright, so that should pretty much be everything. Customize. Begin customization. When you exit customization, you will restart story mode from the last checkpoint. I don't know what that is. And then VR missions. Alright, let's start playing.
Had your fill?
With this body, I could take these guys with no eyes. Intel wasn't exaggerating on the cyborg count.
Well, you know how fast the tech's been spreading these last few years. That CNC muscle fiber packs the power of a jackhammer into every limb.
What enterprising soldier of fortune could resist? And cyborgs are still human. Real
Thinking people. Way less risk of collateral damage than your typical UAV strike.
And don't forget the PR angle. Nations start playing Frankenstein with their troops, and the public goes nuts. PMCs, on the other hand, are off the ethical radar.
Yeah, they still don't even count PMCs in official death tolls. With SOB out of the picture, private militaries needed a new edge on the market. We got it.
In a way, cyborgs are just SOP troops by another name. Only all muscled up and less predictable.
But it makes you wonder, where'd Desperado find these guys?
I'm not complaining. They're like walking vending machines.
Right. Vending machines full of blood.
Easy there, Dracula. Like I said, they're still people.
People who terrorize and take innocent lives for money. They sowed their fate when they took this job. I'm just the Reaper.
Damn. It's a bit cold, right?
Even for you. Anyway, his school. Let's get to work. Time to increase the peace.
Right.
This mission is now playable in VR missions, you said?
Right, the coastline is too long and heavily guarded. You must take the inland route. Ryder, you'll need to head inland. But first, make your way through this building. Ryder, you need to head inland.
Alright.
Ryder, this is Boris. Give me your status.
Looks clear. No one in sight.
Good. Let's recap the route you will take. As I said, the enemy's HQ is in the refinery along the coastline. Dolsaev has been spotted there using satellite photography. Also on site, Mistral, a Desperado captain.
So I go through the city, cross the bridge into the old town, then head down to the rear of the refinery.
Still, I think they anticipate us. They will probably have a grand reception awaiting you at the old city. Do not let your guard down.
The stealth craft made it back to Sochi all right?
Da. Safe and sound. No repairs necessary. Some routine maintenance and she will be as good as new.
Good to hear. I'm guessing that thing doesn't come cheap.
Well, an old Soviet army friend gave me discount. He runs a PMC specializing in airborne warfare.
An Air Force for hire? That's a new one.
Ever since SOP, Merc started to fill more and more regular combat duties. intended, but the trend did not. Most every modern military relies on PMC support in one way or another.
Good news for Maverick, I suppose. Anyway, that's quite the little jet your friend has. I was expecting a lot of turbulence coming in that low, but she was smooth as silk. Didn't feel like I was a bird exactly, but probably the next best thing.
The MQ-133C uses a brand new type of active adjustment control system. Sensors on the plane take readings 120 times a second, and to be honest, I don't know how it works. But the crew chief tells me this is what keeps her flying so steady. It is all state-of-the-art technology. There are only 3 of them in the entire world. Even the RQ-133 spy plane she is based on is only 2 years old. It is fitted specially for Cyborg, so maybe demand is a bit low now, but I think that will change soon, huh?
It's funny. Its guts are all bleeding edge, but from the outside, it looks almost retro.
Until recently, stealth aircraft design was focused on radar-absorbing materials and improving aerodynamics. But lately, engineers are trying to use the shape of the craft to do more than improve gas mileage. Maneuverability is a low priority. This kind of plane is not meant for dogfighting, after all.
And we can afford all this? I hate to ask, but will we clear a profit on this hop?
You need not worry about such things. But yes, we should be fine. Where the proper equipment can make or break a mission, we should have the best. That miss with the anti-air missile last month was a painful reminder of this lesson.
Ah, yeah. I see what you mean. Huh. I didn't think flares could still fool anti-air missiles like that.
They, can't. At least not with any modern missile. The recent missiles rely on a dual wavelength, or IIR system, for guidance. Flares wouldn't fool either of them. But that was no recent missile I had. That Gusak Derma couldn't even take down a fat tilt-rotor target. And at close range. Chort was me.
Come on, Boris. We had no intel. No reason to think that we'd be facing anything like that. You budgeted for the tools appropriate to the job. No one blames you.
Perhaps. In any case, now we know what we are dealing with. This is still a business, but this time I am stretching the budget as much as possible. Expenses like that aircraft and your new body are all part of this.
Both were worth the money. This body's more capable than I could have imagined.
I'm glad you feel this way, since it is still company property. Remember, if you quit on us, you either return it or you buy it.
Yeah, Boris. I remember the first 5 times you told me. Hey, Boris. About the Soliton radar. I noticed that it doesn't get jammed anymore, even if I get spotted by the enemy. Back in the old days, it'd be useless the second an alarm was triggered.
Well, once the Patriots fell, classified technology spread all over the world. This new Soliton radar is one example. By applying a non-linear Schrödinger equation to the Soliton solution, they were able to prevent the jamming that plagued the original models based off the KDV equation.
I'm impressed. You know your stuff, Mr. President.
Of course, I'm a businessman. You think I could run a profitable PMSC without being up to date on the latest tech?
But I wonder, how exactly is the equation different? I mean, I'm no expert on how the KDV equation was implemented in the first place, but I'd love to know how the Schrödinger equation fits into all this.
Raiden, on battlefield, most important thing is how to use equipment, not theory behind it. The mission is #1 priority. So do not worry your head about equations and such things. Just concentrate on using the equipment to your advantage, da?
In other words, you have absolutely no idea, do you?
Ah, the mission, Raiden. Focus on the mission. Raiden, what I said about staying focused on the mission.
Understood. No need to explain.
I say this because I have been there. I have let my emotions take over on the battlefield. Some of the PMC work I did after my discharge was... They were gray area jobs. But that's all in the past. When I took on those former PLA soldiers to form Maverick, I laid out my conditions. We would only take operations we believed in, and we would run them clean, no exceptions. Most of them agreed. They had their own bad memories from their time in Paradise Lost.
I can certainly attest to that.
Yes, of course. I forget who I'm talking with. Most of the ex-PLA have moved on now, in any case. But the point remains the same. Everyone at Maverick is accountable for their actions. We are cleared to take this job under international law. And we can use force against any cyborg hostiles under the basic rules of engagement. But remember, if we harm any civilians, on purpose or not, it will mean trouble. All kinds of trouble. So, stay in control and stay on mission.
Got it.
Raiden, if you ever get lost, use augment mode to check your next objective. By using augment mode, you can see enemy positions and the direction in which you should head. Useful for when you cannot find your objective on the solid dome radar.
Okay, how do I enter that?
Raiden, if you ever get lost, use
Sorry, man, but I have to ask. Where did Mr. Lightning Bolt come from anyway?
Ugh, seriously? All right. Well, I told you where I got Raiden from, right? World War II, the Japanese had a plane called Raiden. The Allies named it Jack.
Yeah, I remember.
And my real name's Jack. So yeah, they codenamed me Raiden.
They being the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. Never really suited me. But it's better than... Jack just reminds me too much of the past.
I hear you.
Someone once told me, you can find your own name and your own future. After that, I dropped Jack for good.
Right, right. And this lightning bolt business?
Well, the Rai part of Raiden means thunder, and Den is electric. So Raiden is basically lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was explaining that to Inmani, and he just busted out laughing.
So he called you that as a joke? He was basically just giving you shit.
Yeah, he actually had a pretty good sense of humor. He was one of the most charismatic men I'd ever met. I don't know much about politics, but being around him, you could just tell he was a natural leader.
Such a goddamn shame.
I won't let it happen again. Desperado ends here. Comic book villains and all.
Yeah. We're counting on you, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Oh.
So, Raiden, who was this that told you to find your own name before you stopped going by Jack?
The one and only Solid Snake. Hero of Outer Heaven, Zanzibar Land, Shadow Moses. The list goes on.
Right. Guy's a legend. I forgot you knew him so well.
Yeah, he saved my ass at Big Shell. Not to mention a few times after that. I've lost count. In terms of pure combat ability, he's one of the greatest soldiers I've ever seen. But it's not only that. He knows what's right, and he just gets it done, period. No one can stop him. I've learned a lot from him. He'd kill me if he heard me talking about him like this.
Wow. I didn't know you were such a fanboy. I thought you were going to start crying there for a sec.
Very funny, Kev.
Seriously, though, did Snake know he had a stalker? Hey, relax. I'm only guy, you know?
I know.
You're no fun. Sounds like Imani was a pretty great leader. Such a goddamn waste.
I've run cover for a lot of VIPs, but men like him are a rare breed. He had all these conflicting factors to deal with. Old tribal tensions, business interests, the military. But Imani got them all working together in a stable government, and all without firing a shot.
The savior of a nation. No wonder they called him that.
He had a gift for sure, but he also put in the hard work. He was big on equality and justice in every aspect of government. He fought for it day in, day out. Imani single-handedly energized his people. He's a big part of why the country recovered so quickly.
True. It was more than new buildings and jobs. The people had hope again.
If only we had someone like him back in Liberia. Things would have been different, that's for sure. And it was my job to protect him.
Right, come on.
Imani wouldn't want me to go after Desperado. Not out of revenge, anyway. But he would want them stopped. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Right. That saying you like, about your sword being a tool of justice?
Yeah, it's why I fight. Sometimes taking a life saves others.
A life, or 2, or 3, or 40 in your case, but I know what you mean. Besides, it's not like those cyborgs you're fighting have been brain-jacked.
Wouldn't be much point in sending jacked cyborgs.
True. Having someone pilot a body remotely only really makes financial sense for espionage missions. And you might as well use UGs if you're going to let an AI control your soldiers. So yeah, they're probably using emotional restraints, but those cyborgs are fighting of their own free will.
Starting to see where I'm coming from?
I get it, it's just... you didn't used to seem so comfortable with the idea. What about what Sam said? About your ideals holding you back?
Ah, bullshit. He's good, but now I know how he moves, how he thinks, and I've got my new body. My philosophy says when and why to fight, not how. It won't keep me from beating Sam. And next time we meet, I will beat him. I'll kill him, and I'll do it to save others from suffering, with my ideals intact.
All right, right.
One thing I can't stop wondering about, Kev.
What's up?
Sam. If he wanted to kill me back on the train, he could have, easily. So, why didn't he?
Good question. But I should be asking you. Your left eye was our only video feed. After he stabbed it, I got nothing. I mean, I got the details from your report after the fact, but that's it. He was probably just too distracted. Boris's attacks, escaping. There was a lot going on.
No, that's not it.
Well, why else? What does he have to gain from letting you live?
I don't know.
Right. Head for the oil refinery.
So much exposition. That's the cool thing about these games. It's kind of like not Metal Gear, Metroid Prime, where there's so much stuff to scan in Metroid Prime, and you get so much just extra information, story exposition, and for those who want to, they can completely skip all of it. But then you've got the obsessive people like me, who just scan everything and read everything. So if you're going to play like that, it takes like way longer than it would normally. But I enjoy hearing all the extra information.
Right. You need to save?
So I hope you do too.
Roger that. Save complete.
I wanted to follow up on our talk earlier about the stress that comes with the job. PMC work can be traumatic, even for non-combatants. If the pressure ever gets to be too much, have one of the ex-military there take over. Just
I'm not doing that, Raiden. PMCs wield massive influence over international affairs. Abolishing SOP didn't change that. They need a better understanding of what they're mixed up in. The laws, politics, local cultures. Ex-military aren't here to provide that. They can't. We need civilian voices like mine here, too.
You're right. Just take care of yourself.
Don't worry. Africa was more than enough excitement for one lifetime. It's a good thing that limo was armored.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd now be the world's clumsiest cyborg.
Hey! Cyborg Courtney could have been your partner. I might have saved your ass.
How? By spilling coffee all over the enemy?
Oh, come on. I'm not that... Oh, son of a...
Please tell me that was a joke.
So that's why I kept wondering why the black guy, Kevin, why he kept moving her coffee cup. Like every single scene, it seems like where it shows him, he's moving her coffee cup. So I guess that's some kind of joke there.
Doc, my fuel cells are running low. What happens if I completely tap them out?
You will lose the ability to perform any action which requires a great amount of energy. But even when your gauge reaches zero, you retain basic movement. You can walk around and swing your sword. Use this time to absorb more electrolytes from your enemies. Recharge your cells as soon as possible.
Roger that. Doctor, you have anything more on these cyborgs?
Only what we went over in your briefing, if you had been paying attention. Standard military-grade cyborgs. MCFC integrated carbon nanotube muscle fibers. Impressive response time and power yields when focused correctly. Most will likely possess extrasensory skills as well. Infrared vision is almost standard these days. They can function without breathing for short periods of time.
Okay. Nothing I didn't already know.
Not all cyborgs you face will be the same, of course. You may notice a range of different capabilities. It all depends on the manufacturer. Muscle fiber and neurotransmission technology is advancing all the time. Of course, you have the very latest science has to offer. A typical cyborg is no match for your equipment.
If you do say so yourself.
No, I realize combat is about more than the equipment. Situational awareness, predictive ability, nerves. One must determine a course of attack or defense and execute on a moment's notice. Reaction time is key. Cyborg enhancements do not change that.
Agreed. Hey Doc, I'm curious. Can I recharge off any cyborg? Even a non-military unit? Not that I ever would, of course.
A pedestrian cyborg? I very much doubt you will encounter any of those on this op. Besides...
Against the rules of engagement, I know. Like I said, just curious.
In theory, then. No, I would doubt very much that you could. Even from those that opted for complete body replacements due to injury or illness, you know. Though I had heard of some very wealthy clients who wanted to fight the effects of aging.
Doctor?
Yes, your question. No, extracting MCFCs from pedestrian cyborgs is unlikely. Most non-military enhancements use polymer muscle fiber that is a generation behind yours. Carbon nanotube would be a bit much for anyone who wished to lead a normal life, you know. And polymer systems can be powered by rechargeable electric batteries. Organic muscle fiber, which allows extraction of nutrients from the bloodstream, does exist, but it requires artificial blood for sufficient power output. This so-called white blood requires regular dialysis and was mostly phased out once cyborg technology became mainstream. True, some use cultivated muscle tissue to take nourishment from the body's natural bloodstream. But such systems are more regenerative medicine than cyborg technology. I'm sure you'll agree. Of course, natural muscular musculature or no, if the body is equipped with a ceramic bone structure.
Can't get energy from non-military cyborgs. Got it.
Well, one moment. I had more...
Thanks, Doc.
So, as I was saying, there are many differences between pedestrian and military cyborgs.
You're still on about this.
Now, first and foremost, military cyborgs are generally full-body conversions.
You mean as opposed to partials?
Yes, as opposed to just grafting on an arm or leg where a myoelectric prosthesis would suffice. As I have said, for the general public, these full-body replacements are quite rare. Quite rare. Only in cases of extreme injury or illness generally. Perhaps a few eccentrics who wish to live longer. In any case, most pedestrian cyborgs are no more than an artificial limb or two. We call these partials.
Doctor, I know. I just said that.
Partials enhancements are not designed to meet the rigors of military use. A pair of synthetic arms attached to an organic body cannot match the power of those on a full cyborg. Total body conversions also armor the entire soldier against stray ordnance and minor injury. This is why wounded contractors most often opt for the works rather than simply replacing the lost limb.
I hear it's why most of Maverick cyborgs had it done, anyway.
Of course, there is the rather dramatic change in appearance to consider. Civilian life as a cyborg can be, well, complicated, as I'm sure you can attest. But for the field, man and metal, capability beyond the natural human body, it has a functional beauty.
Beauty or beast?
Both lie in the eye of the beholder, which brings us to the senses. Machine implants can also restore lost vision and hearing, and with added sensitivity, as you know. Such options have become standard in most military conversion packages, along with pain suppression and dampening less useful emotions, similar to how SOP operated.
Yeah, no matter how hard I'm hit, it doesn't really hurt.
Of course, everything has its limits. Do not let your high threshold for pain make you reckless.
Understood. Doctor, about my pain threshold. It doesn't hurt exactly, but I can still feel it. It's not painful, but it's still pain. It's hard to explain.
Well, your nervous system is still fully intact, of course. It would be dangerous for you to be entirely unaware of your body taking damage. Instead, your nerves are controlled such that pain is no longer so unpleasant.
How do you mean?
Take epinephrine, for example, or adrenaline, as you might know it. This hormone makes it harder to feel pain, yes? Your implants work using a similar method. Yet, for all we now understand of the nature of pain, much of it remains a mystery.
How so?
Well, why do we feel pain? Evolutionarily speaking, of course, to signal external injury or internal sickness. If the body is threatened, pain notifies the brain so it can take steps to ensure survival. In other words, pain has a clear and logical purpose. But, in certain cases, pain can drive more unconstructive behavior. In situations where fight and flight are both still options, one might simply break down crying or drop to the ground and begin writhing about. This would appear only to diminish one's chance of survival, not increase it, yes?
Maybe there's some other factor at play.
Well, the most common theory would link pain with the societal nature of humanity. If no friends are close by, then experiencing pain might indeed reduce your likelihood of survival. But if allies are near, these expressions of pain serve as a plea for help. Thus, you are more likely to live. Fear of pain might also discourage one from entering a dangerous situation in the first place. Whatever the reasons, the data clearly shows that survival rates rise directly with sensitivity to pain. The converse is also proven. Those social animal, and in the process, pain has become more pronounced, more visceral.
A little pain never hurt anyone, huh? But if pain is there to ensure survival, well, what's that say about the future for us cyborgs?
As a transhumanist, I do not believe all evolution must follow the exact method Darwin posited. Cyborg technology is still survival of the fittest, after all, just in a new form. You should be proud of what your body has become. It is the culmination of great achievements in science.
Me? I had nothing to do with it. The credit's all yours.
Well, yes, I should be proud as well.
Doctor, about my fuel cells, the electrolytes. Do all military cyborgs use the same type? I'm not going to run across anyone, incompatible with me, am I?
An excellent question. Your fuel cells, like any other, operate much in the same way as a typical battery. They do not need replacing after a single use, of course, and they do not require recharging. They do, however, require a fuel source.
That much I know already.
Yes, there are several different types of fuel cells. Phosphoric acid, MCFC, molten carbonate like yours, solid oxide, and so forth. Each type can be further divided into classes, each which runs on its own electrolyte material. However, all current military cyborg MCFCs run on the same one electrolyte.
That's good news.
Why all the same electrolyte, you ask? The answer lies in the catalysts that help make up your carbon nanotube musculature. It was breakthroughs in researching these catalysts and CNT manufacturing that enabled large-scale production.
Breakthroughs that happened after all the data the Patriots were covering up finally leaked.
It could not have happened without your help, Raiden. Science owes you a great debt. And I do as well. Working on your body has been quite educational. You must continue along, Raiden.
Finally! That was freaking hell. That was almost an hour of just exposition. Let's go ahead and save again.
Roger that. Save complete.
You saved me again, Courtney.
Right. Anything else? Otherwise I should get back.
Actually, yeah. You mentioned SOP earlier. How much do you know about it?
The Sons of the Patriot system? Same stuff as anyone else in the industry, probably. Basically, a nanomachine software combo for controlling contractors. Used to be required for all PMCs. Soldiers couldn't fire unless their ID matched their weapon and they had clearance. From their commanding officers. And the rules of engagement, I mean. It had some mental effects as well. Moderating pain, enhancing concentration, that sort of thing. The idea was SOP would minimize arms smuggling and civilian casualties.
A kinder, gentler war. An oxymoron, any way you look at it. Civilian deaths did drop, though.
Because soldiers in the system could coordinate in real time, share info. Between that and the ID weapon locks, a lot of people felt better about employing privatized military. The irony is, the system was developed based on criticisms of PMC ops, mostly American interventions. SOP propaganda said it would put limits on the war market. What it really did was shift market share over to the PMCs. Civilian deaths went down, but total casualties just kept on climbing.
More than ever, war was big business.
And business was booming. Until SOP got hacked. Suddenly, everyone realized how dangerous it was to have a single system controlling entire PMCs. That was the beginning of the end for SOP. Public opinion on privatizing war did a 180. After that, a lot of local conflicts and civil wars died down. The PMC conglomerates had to split up and downsize just to stay in business. And that about does it for SOP 101. Class dismissed.
Not bad, Professor. But it's not the whole story.
No, I know.
Let's finish this later. I better keep moving.
Alright, so this will be the end of part 1. That was basically nothing but Codec conversations. But either way, it was awesome, pretty cool stuff. So tune in for the next part where we will actually play the game instead of just listen to stuff. Alright, this has been Astro Triforce. Check out www.watchersplaygames.com for more. And thanks for watching.